Hello and welcome again to Simple Ways for Sheets, Apps, Scripts, and whatever digital skills you'd like to know. Today we are going to continue our if conditional, but today we are going to explore to the depths all the possible if conditionals that we can use that from the pre-built functions for the Google Sheets. So we are going to start with all the ifs. So simply if you come here, that's our standard sheet. If you come here and we say that I like to put here some if conditions. So if we say equal and then we say if, you will find a list of all the possible if conditionals. We are going to pass one by one in details. We will start by the default if conditional, and we are going to relate to what we had seen in the previous lecture about the if else, and if else if, and so on, so to understand how the flow of the logic goes. So if I open my brackets, you will find here a simple question mark that will bring you the help, so that you need to put your logical expression here and then the value if true and the value if false. You need to be aware that not all the if conditionals or all the ifs that you will find with pre-built with the sheets are performing the same way. So simply here you need some logical expression to make some comparison: bigger than, equal to, less than, and so on. So my logical expression, for example, I will select just the nearest cell here. So you can select any cell in the sheet or in different sheets. Even, for example, if you go to this sheet, for example, if any sheet which is having some value, for example, then I will take this sheet, and then simply it had selected this cell from the sheet which is named data types, which is cell E1. Okay, so you can select any sheet, any cell to make the comparison with. So simply I will select the nearest cell, which is this one, and I'll check if it is, for example, if it is bigger than 105. Okay, and then comma, then I need to put the true value. That's the value if true. Okay, so the value if true, for example, you can say it's good, it's bad, so it's high, for example. So the value if true is true. If true, let's say I put here high. Okay, and then if it's not bigger than 105, I'll put good. Okay, and then my close brackets, enter. Then it's good because it's not bigger than 105. So simply if I remove the last, which is value if false, this one, and then I pressed enter, then it will bring you false because it needs two values for true and false. If you don't provide a false fallback, so it will not give you, it will tell you it's false. So but can I remove the true? No, you can't remove the true because that's the one in the middle. Because if you removed this one, which is the high, it will create you an error because it needs, there is no available value here. Why? Because it needs two arguments, at least two arguments, 2 and 3. The third argument is optional. So if I come back here again and I remove this and I put my conclusion again that this one is high, which is the true one. Okay, and then I press enter, it's going to bring you false. So that's the if conditional. It acts like if else. So if you have this value, I will do so, I will put high. Else, I will put something else, or I'll give you it's a false condition. So that's our if. What about if we check our ifs? Well, the ifs, it acts in a little bit different way. It needs a condition, a value, a condition, value, condition, value. So there's no true and false. And any condition, which the first condition, which is satisfied, is going to give you its value. For example, if I say it again for example, I'll say if it is this cell, the nearest cell, just to be consistent with our thinking, this one is bigger than 100. That's true. Then I will say that this one is, simply I'll say it's bigger than 100. Okay, and then after that I'll put another condition. I'll select another cell. For example, here that's the operator, it's a group A, so I'll select group A, and if this one is equal to A, okay, I'll put, for example, well done. Okay, enter. You can say that it brings greater than 100, even if the other condition is fulfilled. It's a group A, but because it checked the first one, it's fulfilling it, so it applies it. If it's not applying the first one, it's like if, and then else if, which is based on another condition. So I'm going to, if I return back here, then if I change the first condition to be less than 100, and then I press enter, you can see that it says well done because it had selected the other option when it is group A. What if all the options are not available? I will select here if it is group B, for example. I will say well done. Okay, you can see here that it's giving you a red line or a mark here that there is no available option for this. There will not be available result for this. So if I press enter, it tells you also not available because there is no available solutions. There is no matching for the conditions that I had placed. It found no matches in all the conditions. So you can see that here it's a little bit different between the if, which is having like we're acting like if else, and then the ifs it's like if else if else if else if, and if there is no fallback, it will give you, or there is no condition true, it will tell you that there is no match, is not available. If you don't like to see this not available, we can work directly from here. Okay, I can wrap it simply in if. Okay, not available, that's one of the ifs in our list, and I'll put so if not available, it will check the value here. Okay, then it will give you here the value, otherwise it will give you if no error. Okay, and that's the first condition. And then if there is an error, I will say here, instead giving you an error, I will say no match. Okay, so it will tell you no match instead of giving you an error. That's one of the ifs. If you remember, if we say here equal to if and have a look again, we have ifs and if not available. So if there is no solution for the conditions that I had placed or the formula that I had placed, then it will give me the other option, which is no match. That's but this one is a special one. There is another one which is if error. Under any condition, if there is an error, it will get you a problem. So what if we tested here with if error? Instead of saying if not available, I will say here if error. Okay, it's recommending to you, so I will say if error. Okay, and I put enter. It says also if error and if not available, both of them are working the same way with the not available error, because not available is one of the errors, but just it's some specific conditions. In some cases you would like to use especially for the not available and not for all the errors, because an error, maybe an error in parsing the formula or in writing the formula or something like that, but not available is not a total error. It's simply there is no condition available for this solution or for this if condition or for this calculation and so on. So we move on. Okay, we'll try together something else with the if. Then we say ifs and if not available and if error. So let me say we start with SUMIF. I need to make summation, so it will make it totalizing for if. So you need to select a range. Which range you will check to make the summation. So I will check this range, for example, that's the D range, so it will be D to D, as you can see here. And then what will be the condition? For example, I will select the condition, it's equal to, I need to put the condition between quotations, and then is equal to C, for example. Okay, so it will sum the cells, but which range it will sum? Okay, now we put, if you don't put a range here and you are selecting only the value, so it will sum the values. You will see this in the next example. Here I need to put the sum range, which is optional here. When you find the square brackets, it's optional. So I'll put here my summation will be from, for example, from the production units. It will be this one. Then I close my range and I press. That's the totalized number from the summation of all the cells for group C, which is only equal to C. I need to filter here. I will remove A and B. I'll keep only C. And I will say, okay, so that's the values which are equal to C. For example, if you highlighted all these values, you selected them all, you can find the total which is coming here. It's exactly as the value we had seen, which is 11172. But the value disappeared because I'm making a filter on the C, just I'm checking the value. So if I return back all the values here for A and B, okay, then you can find that it's 11172. That's that totalized value. Okay, so it's working. Okay, so it had selected only for summation for the product units only for group C to make the summation. So that's SUMIF. Here, if you remember, we said that we need to give another example. Here I'm selecting the criteria from one column, and the summation column is another one, which is this one. Now, if I need to make both them the same column to check the option, so if I put here, if you remember here, this was optional, the sum range. If I select it here, then I will make C to C. That's my summation range, and then will be, for example, production which is greater than 2000. Okay, then you don't need to put this optional sum range because it will apply the criteria and the summation on the same range. I press enter. Now it's working fine, so it's calculated summation for all the values here of the production units that are above than 2000. Okay, Control Z. We return again to our original calculation. So equal. I will check another if conditional. So if we are going to select the maximum MAXIFS, okay, then I need to select a range which I'm going to check the maximum inside. So I'm going to select, for example, this range, okay, and that's where I'm going to check the maximum. So what is the criteria range? Is the range that I'm going to check the criteria for to select the maximum win. It's not only selecting the maximum, because if I put maximum, it will get you the maximum in the complete column. Maximum ifs, it will get you the maximum within the cells that is fulfilling a certain criteria. So my criteria range, I'm going to check, for example, let's we select the group or column C, for example. We are having this at D, so I will select column D. Okay, and my criteria will be equal to group C. Enter. Okay, that's the maximum temperature that is produced by group C. I need to make sure that's 102. If I simply check here, I can make a filter here again for group C. Okay, and you can see that's actually the maximum temperature produced by group C was 102. Okay, so we can see here now we had seen the ifs, if error, if not available, and maximum if and sum if. What else we are having? So if we have checked all this, minimum is like the maximum, some ifs, it will mix a summation, if but with multiple conditions like this one. You will put a summation range, which range it will sum, and then you will put a criteria range. For example, you need to put to sum all the products, so this will be the summation range. I need to check, then it will be the criteria range, all the products which are produced above a certain temperature. Then I need to put quotations. That's very important, that you need to put quotations, and then inside the quotations I'll put my criteria, which is greater than, for example, 102. So I need to calculate all the products that are produced above 102, and then I press enter. You will get this value. Okay, so any produced above 102, it had calculated it. Okay, so if you need to check it again, so you can apply here a filter by condition, and then you can select the condition from here, which is greater than, and then I need to put a value for the condition. This will be 102. Okay, and then okay, then it make the filter. Then you need to calculate all this to make a summation for this. Okay, that's 1571, exactly as we had calculated it. So that's all the temperatures that above 102. Okay, and it was all by chance produced by one group, which is group P. Okay, then Control Z, and I return back to my condition. So okay, now we had tried some ifs, but with one condition. What if we had applied multiple conditions? If you remember that we said that all the temperatures produced above 102 was only from one group, which is group P. So if I put another condition, for example, that's another range to check. Select D to D, which is our groups, and then I need to what is the criteria will be for this range. I will select it. For example, if I said equal to P, so I press enter, so it's applying only P. So if I change it here to C, Okay, now you can see that it is 0 because no temperature above 102, as we had done in the filter, is no other groups is making temperature above 102. So that's multiple criteria. So if I change here the criteria, for example, I make it less than 102. So it's less than 102. It would be group A and C. So I press enter, and that's because I selected only, now it's less than 102 and group C. If I selected group A, so that's another calculation, which is group A. If I change this one to be group B, that's the calculation of the temperatures that was less than 102, which are produced by group B. Okay, so now we had tried multiple criteria. So if we return again to our original formula, we return now to our original criteria, and then we continue with other ifs. What other ifs we have? So I'll say going to check if. Okay, COUNTIF, it will calculate it will calculate how many times you worked group C worked, for example. So COUNTIF, for example, I put here the range. I will select this range, okay, and then I will check this time, for example, group A. So my condition will be equal to A, enter, and then 5 times group A had worked. So if I make a filter only for group A, and then okay, you can calculate it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we do it also with the same? If so, if I mark it the 5s here, you can see here that's the count. If that's what we had seen in the previous video about the artificial intelligence of Google Sheets. So you mark an area and it gives you the recommendation what values it can or what data it can get out of, or what information it can statistical information or something like that it can get from the range that you had marked in your work. Okay, then Control Z. I return back again. So what other ifs we have? So example equal if. We had checked now if not available, some if, maximum if, minimum if, some ifs, and count if. And then this one is not an if conditional. It's the date difference. It's the date difference. It's not if conditional. It's the date difference. It gets you the date in difference between two dates if you need to calculate the number of days between two dates. And the if error we had already tested. So I hope now we had a wealth of information about all the possible pre-built if conditions in the Google Sheets. So you can now work with any of them. You can select the best if conditional you can use in your sheet to make functions that will help you to get better visualized results of your sheet, better indications, better calculations, and see you in coming videos. You can join our channel, subscribe, spread the information. We have our services on Fiverr, and our services you can find it also on trainings on Udemy and services on Fiverr. You can find the links in the description box. Subscribe, join, spread the information, join our trainings, ask for our services on Fiverr if you need some specialized services on sheets that will help you with making your sheets more interactive, automated, and will help you correct your functions, your macros, or whatever you are working with, so you can reach the targets you are willing to reach with Google Sheets. See you in coming videos with simple ways for Google Sheets and apps script.